hills and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance to spit in his eye. Well, they gave me bars, but I can see between to a dusty yard and a long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I dry my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone. I'm sober.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Shortbangers. I'm Matty. I'm your host tonight. I'm joined by Colin. Colin, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm good as well. Roasting, eh? It's like the sun coming in the house and just fucking boiling.
Aye, same here.
Aye. We were meant to have John and Brian on, but Brian lost track of time and John's on dad duties, so they were late call-offs.
Throwing this, she's been a good baby up in the air. Mind all that chat he was getting.
Oh,
she's
aye.
been really good.
Aye,
really
that's it. He jinxed it. He spoke too soon.
Mm-hmm.
You been watching the Euros?
I must have. I started watching the Netherlands there, but obviously cut it short to record this. So I got most of the games.
Would you get Scotland?
Disappointed. But actually created all the chances, I thought, but it was disappointing just to lose the goals because it was poor defending. It was poor. The first one, like they left McGinn on his own against two of them, 3 cross in, and then the second one, like, you know, I don't know why Henry's shooting for there, and then both got Marshall staying away up where he is, but cracking strike for the boy, but
aye,
disappointing.
I like how there be memes of Marshall that have been kicking about, get chased
by fisher net.
Doing that.
Aye, the one in the fishing net was brilliant as well.
There was the one the boy parachuting into the Alliance Arena. Marshall, that. There's been some good
fucking shame. I just wish it had been Craig Gordon.
Aye, I can.
Just wish it had been Craig Gordon that fucking faced it.
Terrible thing to say, but I was fucking exactly the same. The other, what was the other thing? The boy parachuting in. What game was that? Was that Germany, France?
Aye, Germany, France. Aye.
We were watching it, right? And I said to Jane, you look at the French team and you look at the German team, and it's all superstars, like they're all world class. So, but you kind of assume, because there are some players that you didn't ken, or if you're like me, you'll look in some of them. I wonder if any of them are the equivalent of Phil O'Donnell. You know I mean? It's just like, okay, we've got McGinn and McTominay and Tierney and Robertson who are that level. Do you know, like they would play for the teams that the French players play for or the German players play for. But then you've got O'Donnell or Grant Hanley. And so I was like, I wonder if there's like the players at the German side that just go, Shiza, when they get picked.
That's the thing with Hanley, though. Hanley kicks about the sort of Premiership and high end of the Championship regular. O'Donnell, I feel a bit sorry for him as well because was he that bad on Monday? He's the easy one to go for because he's played for Motherwell and previously Kilmarnock. He's never played for Rangers, Celtic, even Hibs or Hearts. I mean, he's never played that level, but he got in Christie's Road at one point and he let the ball run past him, I think, early doors. But other than that, he didn't really do anything. It's not his fault Hendry didn't pass him the ball.
No,
I think he's an easy target.
Aye, Lyndon Dykes is the other one, eh?
He was shit. He got hopes up there because he had no strikers at the time, and then he came in and 2 chances are there. That second one, the first one he's stretching for. The second one, you think, oh come on, just about every other striker in the squad and midfielder probably would have finished that.
Aye, just it's one of these things. So, aye.
Did you see McGinn today? Apparently shifted the press conference. I've not seen it yet. I've just heard about it.
Well, when he came in,
the press conference.
Is there no coke?
Is there no coke? Brilliant, eh? Oh, amazing. It would be even better if I just sat down my bottle of Iron Brew or something.
That's what we said, a bottle of bucky and a bottle of Iron Brew. Just plugged it in. All right, cuts. Right, we'll get some questions in. Right, first question comes from Liam. It says, can sign language have an accent?
Why not? I'd imagine there's maybe a flourish for the.
Well,
or would there not be like slang? The slang would maybe be the equivalent. Different slang for different areas.
Well, what I thought, right, is it probably would have regional differences, which would be the equivalent. Because if you imagine, the inventor of sign language, right? He or she will have
Sir John Sign Language.
Sir John Sign. I wanted to say that, and I was like, that's a reference.
That's wrong podcast.
Everybody will get. Aye. There's a limit to how much stuff you can lift from another podcast. If he or she started off and says, right, here's fucking sign language, they'd have shown it to somebody who would have went away and done it, right? And so you imagine, right, they're in, let's say, Edinburgh.
You sound like it's like Chinese whispers.
Aye. Right. So they show it to somebody from Glasgow, somebody from Aberdeen, somebody from fucking Motherwell, whatever. And then they go away and they do it ever so slightly different, but everybody that they show in the radio is going to do it their way, which would be the equivalent of an accent to it, I think.
I agree.
Aye. And also, you would shout as well.
example.
I would shout and say, yeah, fucker, like that, like in sign language. So it depends what you're saying alongside it. Anyway, good question. Right, 150k on Hanlon Hill said you've invented a set of remote-controlled goalie gloves and football boots that only you control. You can pass them out to 4 players, i.e., one glove to one player, one glove to another, one boot to another, and so on. Or do you spunk the lot on greasy guarantee and rage level 5? So do you get him out Alan McGregor to make him go Raj?
I'd be very tempted to just get him to go. You wouldn't even need to get him then for him to go Raj. He'd go Raj, yeah. He'd go Raj because he's no got them. Never mind because
Just fucking rage him with jealousy that somebody else has got him. Would you make him do star jumps or what would be good? This will no work if you're just
I'd make
listening.
him cross himself if you're asking. I'd make him cross himself.
Cross himself. I would mind when you were wee and you had the mittens with the string through them. That's how we would be keep it goal. Like every time we went to catch the ball, it'd be like 1 arm in and 1 arm out. Did the same with his feet.
Wrong arm up when the ball's gone left.
So that's what I would do. I like the idea of giving it, like, kind of distributing them, because that could be quite good fun as well. Especially if you were able to make them all come together quickly.
Yeah.
You know, just like press a wee button on them and not just when you have the players just kind of crashing into each other. And McGregor would be mine for the mittens. Right, William said, what's more disappointing? The fact that chippies smell great and that along with the thought of them is better than the state of your guts get left in, or Scotland's performances at a major tournament. So, more disappointing that a chippy smells great but leaves your guts in bits, or just Scotland at tourneys.
What's more disappointing? Well, the thing is that, certainly in my world, chippies are more frequent than Scotland tournaments. So I don't know if that makes it. It probably makes. Does it make the disappointment worse for the football because it doesn't happen very often, or does it? Because I wouldn't keep going back if I was disappointed the chippy, would I? I'm asking a question.
It's one of the things. Like, see if you've got a chippy that you trust, and you get a badge in, that's gutting. We had one other day. So the Brig, there's two chippies called the Brig in Dunfermline, right? Both the same chain. One's definitely better than the other, but the one that's not quite as good is neither. So because there's not much in it, we would normally go to that one, and it's normally decent. But we had one the other day, and it was fucking horrible. Like everything about it was brutal. I proper fancied a chippy that night as well. It wasn't one of those ones where everybody else wants it and I'm no bothered. I was the driving force behind that chippy. So
I always think chippies are mental though, because they get all the same. They got all their stuff for the same suppliers. There's a place out near Mid Calder. They just fire through all their frozen sausages, king ribs, and that. It's all the same. So it's all down to maybe the cleanliness of the fat or whatever. Aye. It's all the same shite they're chucking in the fat.
skill of the chef.
Aye.
Are you a
Let's
chef?
call him a chef.
Aye, a chippy chef.
Aye.
Maybe that's a new Master Chef thing we could start going in. Master Chippy Chef. We'll just host that. We'll be Greg Wallace and who's the other boy? John Rhodes.
John Rhodes. We could just stand there. We could do that. The two are standing there just cutting a sausage up.
Do you ever watch Family Guy?
I used to.
So Peter Griffin will sometimes make like a funny face, like a distorted face, like he's kind of spasming or something like that. Greg Wallace makes those faces all the way through MasterChef, and when you notice it, you can't help but just kind of go meh, like Peter Griffin.
Mini stroke or something.
Aye, that's what it looks like. So I'm sorry if I've ruined MasterChef for anybody now. Okay, 150k on Hanlon Hill. For a £1 million prize, you're transformed, probably by a wizard, obviously, into a sloth that chases a tortoise with a packet of Tangy Tom's Gorilla glued to its shell. You only get the money and turn back to yourself if you can get the maze snack packet off the shell. Do you accept or reject?
Fucking hell. This guy who we now know who it is, sent some mental questions in, does he know?
Aye. So you've got £1 million on offer, but to get
That could be a sloth forever if I didn't catch the tortoise.
Aye.
Or I guess if even I do and I can't get the bag of crisps off its back.
All right. What would be attached? So assuming you can catch it.
It was glued. Did you see glued the crisps to its
Gorilla
back or
glued as well. Aye, to its shell. So you're going to have to probably prize the turtle out of the shell, tortoise. Or
could you just rip the shell off the tortoise, maybe?
Well, that's I think how that works. Because is the shell part of the tortoise, or do they climb into it? I don't know. Is it a house that they find? No, they must grow as part of them. I'm not convinced I'd take that. It's not worth it. I'm slow at the best of times. Never mind turning into a sloth.
I know. That's what I was thinking. Is a sloth slower than a tortoise? That's the first question that went through my mind.
Aye, sloths are, I think.
Well, you're not going to catch it then, are you? So you wouldn't take it.
Might be a slow tortoise. maybe carry
and
an injury.
a fast sloth.
Aye. I don't know if would you have a chance to do some training then? Maybe if you could do some training to prepare for it, so you were in peak sloth condition.
Aye. But could leave it as a rhetorical question. Is it? Can we leave?
Aye, there's a lot of variables there. And what if the terrain's no friendly for a sloth and it's good for a tortoise? Tortoises didn't go in the water, did they? I think how sloths swim. Do you know?
No idea. I didn't watch Attenborough.
See, I watched that, but I like all the documentaries on the nature. Why I like watching them is they do them in Ultra HD. And I'm like pathetic. I love things like that.
Not many programs you can watch. No.
Aye, and you're like, I want to show off the telly. What can have? See it as best, so you watch any old shite. And
when I first got that telly, I was like, oh, put the snowboarding on YouTube.
Aye. You're like, well, fuck hell, it's like doing the Alps.
This is brilliant.
I actually feel like I need a jacket. Aye, but I can't mind if I've ever seen a sloth swimming on it. Anyway, I'm not taking that deal. It's too risky.
I think I'll stick.
Aye. If it was just for the Tangy Toms, maybe they're decent. That's an extra kicker now I'm thinking about it.
Tangy Toms were alright. I think I prefer like the onion rings and that as well. Can they be?
I like onion rings.
Do you know?
No. Folk normally the pickled onion flavour, and onion rings on there. I like Space Raiders and all that pickled onion, all that kind of thing. Nah, didn't like them.
No.
Tangy Toms are nice, so nicer flavour. Right, Ricky asks, are you worried at the lack of transfer activity for Hibs?
Nothing really. I've tried to switch off the Hibs since the cup final, to be honest with you. I didn't care. No, I'm not worried about it, no.
We've only brought in the winger of the boy for, what was it, Ross County or Inverness?
Aye, Inverness. Mackay, is it?
Aye.
Is the window open, I take it? Aye.
I think so. I think it's open now. Aye. Somebody I think answered Ricky and said, aye, it's actually Charlie for the Strong Opinion Hibs. He said the window isn't open, but then Ricky said it opened on the 9th of June. So.
Oh, so just last week?
Aye. So I'm not too worried, although we're not that far off our first games now that we've got the European.
No,
Rotterdam.
It's a month away, and I normally want, but then if we lost any, really, we've not lost anybody either. So
Fraser Murray today, he went to Kilmarnock.
Sorry, who?
Fraser Murray.
Oh, did he?
Aye,
Oh,
2-year deal. But he wasn't playing for us anyway. Do you know, like it's
he wasn't getting a game. No, good for him getting a Premier. Oh, it's not Premier team. He got really good, but good. No, it's because he was always promising the lad. He's just never been able to break through. But no, I didn't know that. But I kind of think, as I say, I wasn't sure if the window opened like the 1st of July or something. But if it's obviously open already, so I'm not worried yet. No, pre-season started around, so When's pre-season? That'll be a
Must
couple
be
of weeks
soon.
away still.
Aye, must be soon. I start to get
Usually want them
excited
in
when it
early,
comes
though.
up, because there's some teams back. When next door neighbour, he signed for Airdrie this week, and he was saying they're back in for pre-season. They're in for all the testing and that. So,
Mind you, middle of June's sort of normal, actually, when I think about it. It's normally the middle of June. I've kind of lost track of the date, I think, with the Euros and that being on.
aye.
It's normally the middle of June they go back, but I didn't bother about it. I didn't get excited till later on. I can't even be asked with pre-season games. Times I've we went to Edinburgh, mind you, we played Edinburgh City and that.
Aye, Meadowbank.
And went to that. And that was mainly because there was a boy playing for Edinburgh City that I knew really, but and it was the first game back after the
Cup, aye. The Cup.
Cup.
Yeah.
But it's just shit. It's just training, eh? It's just like going and watching training, and you pay money to get in and watch them train.
You fall into the trap every season, though, or I do anyway. You're that desperate to see them again, and you're like, we'll be at Wraith Rovers.
Well, this will be like Arsenal this year as well. Like, it's Arsenal, but Arsenal will be sending up the laddies, or they'll be a couple of weeks behind us in pre-training, and you know what I mean. And it's just going to be crap.
Aye, everybody did to make it to the Euros. For Arsenal, that'll be playing. All right, Kaiser Soze, what's the funniest nickname you've had for a friend or colleague? He worked with a South African called Pocock, who was affectionately known as Shit Dick.
There was a hand kicking about a few weeks ago with this, on WhatsApp and that the Australian disc jockeys were talking about.
Oh, aye, there was. I can't remember what the funniest one was.
No, but I remember because I said it to my old man, and he replied saying he used to work for LRT at the time, and there was a boy they called Thrush because he was an irritating cunt. But that was the only I can think any other ones, to be honest with you. I've played rugby as well. There was nicknames all over the place, but I do remember. Well, one of your mates, Colin, he still gets called Doctor.
Doctor, aye.
And that's all a big translation for mental translation for because he's got ginger hair,
ginger pubes,
GP. GP's a doctor. That's how that moved through the stages.
I think I might have, because we've been asked this question before, and I think I might have explained his nickname before on the podcast previously. Maybe because his surname at the time was Livingston as well. And mind there was the Dr. Livingston, I presume, which I think folk then kind of associated doctor with that phrase, whereas it wasn't they were at all. It's because he had ginger paws.
Okay, that's since he was about 14.
Aye. Still not grown out it,
Well, I was just thinking because two of them still call Warren, who he's been name checked in here before, he still calls him doctor. That's it. He doesn't even call him. Fucking 50 years on. So
that's good, eh? That's what it's all about. Ewan Wilson for Down the Slope. Why the fuck doesn't Cinch, the new sponsor of the leagues, have a capital fucking C? That's a good point. And they can. Why wouldn't they? Somebody's obviously decided. Was that?
Is the word at the start of a sentence, or is it?
Well, it's their name, so you should have a.
I know, but it wouldn't get counted on countdown then if it was. But they is it not? It's all modern shit, isn't it? Like look at all the brands that didn't have capital letters. It's just a modern thing.
Dickheads away.
We're going to talk about the one I work for because they're changing their brand.
That's
a bit of press recently. So I'll mention that.
You best know. It's good they're putting money into Scottish football and that. I'm with you in that they should have a capital letter, but I'm not a proud man, and if they want to sponsor the podcast and chuck some money our way, we'll promote the fuck out of it, capital letters or no. Anyway, right. Brian Roth asked, upon the news of Jamie Vardy buying the Rochester Rhinos in the US, what US-based team would you buy?
I don't know any US teams. I just don't pay any attention at all to. Why would I want to buy them? What's the purpose of buying them? Why did he buy them? I haven't even heard of that.
I think he saw it as a bit of a project. I saw a wee article about it, and he was saying it was the start of a journey. They were going to try and take them up the leagues or something like that. So he just bought a minority stake. So
it's a tax write-off.
Aye. What was Charleston Battery? I'd buy them just because they like the
All right.
maps. That's an easy one. And I didn't ken really any other ones. What was Galaxy? Somebody LA Galaxy, is it? Are they basketball?
Well, I
Is
was
that
going, no,
Beckham's team?
that's where Beckham played for. So you would think about that because you'd be thinking, well, if you own somewhere in America, you'd want it to be somewhere you'd want to go. So it'd be a New York or an LA or a Las Vegas, wouldn't it?
Somewhere
So that you're
sunny.
So that's where I would go down that route. LA's at Hollywood and that in it. New York's New York, and then Las Vegas is your Blackpool, eh? So
Aye. Blackpool.
Blackpool, proper Blackpool.
Proper Blackpool. I'd kind of Las Vegas have a team. What was Beckham's team?
Oh, great one.
Because Beckham made a team, didn't he? In Miami, is it?
Oh, that's right. It's Miami, Inter Miami, isn't it? Aye, but he played for LA Galaxy. That's where it was. But Inter Miami, he's now, I don't know, chairman or whatever.
We could go and start AC Miami.
Yeah,
Have a rivalry. Rivalry. Right, Matt Reedy said, can blind people see their dreams?
Well, I wonder, I don't know. I wonder if they were born blind, I would think not. But if they became blind, then probably can.
So apparently, my grandma's blind, but she developed blindness through her life. Like she wasn't born blind. But apparently, you're spot on. If you're born blind, apparently you can't see.
Because you can't visualize
reference.
You
point of reference to it. But if you develop blindness, and you can, and apparently, people who develop blindness have worse nightmares than normal people. It's a normal inverted commas,
All right.
Fully sighted people know that blind people aren't normal, but I'm thinking.
But you said that, so in case you get sued, is that in case you get taken to court?
I wasn't meaning that as normal sighted or perfectly sighted. I don't know. Right, moving on. Ian McPhail, I can't read this. He said, quite simply, Schick or Chick, who had the best long range goal? Schick for Czech Republic or Chick Charnley for Hibs?
I can't remember the Charnley one, and I've not seen much footage of it since the cameras were there.
Well, he basically shelled it for halfway.
Aye.
Most of the halfway goals are pretty much the same, aren't they, when they go in?
Aye, I suppose the difference is, like, where's the goalie? I suppose is the difference, eh?
Aye.
But I mean, the way that the boy smacked that ball on Monday, bent it out and all that. I know there's a boy in Hibs.net saying it's sort of 9 times out of 10 you'll score it, but I'm not convinced when I hear Shearer and Fabregas and the like, so talking about it. But
you're right.
But I can't remember where the goalie was or anything for the Charnley one.
Well, it was definitely off his line. McGinley done it the same season, didn't he, Pat McGinley?
I'm sure it was, and was it not like a week or two later as well? It was quite close by each other.
Who was it? St Mirren did it at Easter Road, didn't they? Like the boy was just halfway.
That's right.
And,
that was on a couple of seasons ago. It was a midweek one, eh?
Aye.
Sure
we were shite that night as well.
Aye, it was a 2-0, I think they won.
Aye.
But that's right, the boy just nailed it. That was a good strike again, though. It was like, you're looking at it thinking, well, what's the goalie? Who was in goals? Was it Marciano? Good near be. Everything, yeah.
I think it was Marciano.
Aye.
Because it would have been I think Lennon in charge.
I can't remember who it was. It was a boy. I'm sure the boy had played down in England and that. The guy that done it though, like he was a decent.
Aye, maybe like a name like Hamill or something like that. Kind of was that sort of.
Aye, because he scored they no score similar, but they no score a good goal against Hearts the week before for distance as well, or the week after. Did. I can't remember his name now, but that was a good goal. But I can't answer the question. Can you answer the question?
I'll go check Charlie because it was Hibs. It was a goal I liked. Aye, that's it. I'm biased. These goals are always like kind of straight in the way. And I'm thinking of the long range ones. Oxley's one was funnier because the keeper come out and it bounced over him. That's worse if you're a keeper. I think if you get beaten with a shot for halfway and you're off your line, because it has to be good, it has to kind of be high enough to get over you and then low enough to still go in the goals. You could live with that. Somebody shelling it for a goal kick can kick out the hands for the other end of the pitch because you've watched that the whole fucking way. And then the bounce, like, aye,
Andy Gorham scored for Hibs, didn't he?
aye, against Morton, he did it.
Aye. No. But aye,
What's that
I was in the famous five in Oxley, done it. My daughter was just started going, my eldest now, but she was like, before she just genuinely said it no long ago. Do the goalies ever score? I was like, nah, the goalies never score, pal, on any smack. She was like,
So
you can
I
hear with football. I've got fucking never see it again.
I mean, we sat down pretty much at the end, the West Lower, where the goal went in that season. Just kind of round about in line with the penalty spot, and I must have been fucking just totally switched off because the ball's up our end, keeper's ready to kick it out. I think I'm looking at my phone or something, and I just lifted my head as the ball bounced and floated in. And Kim, you're like, "Fuck happened there? Have we scored?" You're like, "Yes," and then you kind of realise what had happened. Just a big punt up the park.
Then all that goal. Yeah.
Right, another question from Matt. If someone owns a piece of land, how deep does their ownership go? Do they own it all the way to the centre of the earth?
I think that depends on what country you're in, because I'm sure there's rules in England that are different to Scotland. There's no leaseholds and freeholds and all that.
But that's just to do with the ownership of the land, isn't it? So
I suppose
you still have something.
Yeah, it's to do with the house that sits on it. Yeah. I think you do. Aye. There you go.
So why do you think more people? I Ken Fritzl tried it, but why do more folk no try tunnels and stuff? Just dig down, and
It wouldn't go very fucking far, would it? Like my garden goes to that fence about 10 metres away. Right? So I've got a 10-metre tunnel.
But you could extend your house downward, right? So say if you thought, right, you wanted to have a floor below ground level that could extend out the length of your garden. That's a significant bit of area you've got there then. Yeah. And then why stop at one floor? You know, you could keep going subterranean.
Yeah. Like a tropical zone, like the Crystal Maze. The water you get.
Aye.
It's really warm over here because we're near Australia.
That would cause problems though, because with the Earth curving, you eventually you would be.
They don't meet in the middle.
Aye. So there has to be a limit, otherwise.
It'll be planning permission or building regs. Guaranteed.
Aye.
The council will be involved somewhere.
I suppose I'm not surprised to say we're probably not the best place to answer that question.
like many of these questions.
Like all of them probably.
Or all.
Alex said, "What's the single stupidest thing you've ever done, and did you learn from it?" He says, "I once swam out to sea in Mallorca to touch one of the lifebuoy things and nearly died trying to get back." Pretty stupid.
Did you not do something like that in Mallorca? Was that?
No, I don't think so.
No. Because we were just talking before we started recording the Scotland-England game. Did you not start going in the...
So we went in the sea, but the big fat cockney guy that we were calling Pavarotti.
Aye.
And because what I remember about that, so the game finishes, we've had banter with this guy all the way through the game, and he's there with his missus, and he was older than we are now at that point, I would say, right? So probably in his 50s, black mullet, and big heavy cunt as well, right? So we obviously were calling him Pavarotti and shouting Nessun Dorma, all that kind of hilarious stuff. But because we were getting on all right, I think he bought us some drinks after the game, and we'd got him drinks, and we all ended up at the beach and running into the sea. And what I remember is his missus got absolutely fucking mental at him because he had a dodgy heart. And she's like, "Okay, you're gonna have a fucking heart attack," you know, and try to get him out the water and everything. He's just like bashed, having the time of his life.
That's the silliest thing he done then. So I wonder if he learned for it. It's probably deep now. That was 1996.
Aye. So, if he had a dodgy heart then, and with the size of him and everything, I would be surprised if he's watching.
Unless he learned for it, unless in less than that day, and he's now looking back going, thanks to the boys, and 25 years ago.
Aye. Stupid. I've done plenty of stupid things. Most of them we've already told in various stories on the podcast and can misadventure when you're drunken and that. But I've not done any proper conscious stupid things like Kimmer have decided to go swimming miles out to sea or.
No. I opened the door on my car on the bypass one night when I was driving 70, 80 miles an hour. Just made my
What did you do that?
fuck knows, I can't remember. It was my mate, the doctor that we've just mentioned earlier. He was in the car and I was like, I'm going to open the door. Like, fucking open the door. I don't know. I can't remember. I was 18 or 17 at the time. Can't remember what the thinking was, if it was a dare or he wouldn't have dared me to do that. I can't remember. But I did. I opened the bit on the bypass one night. It was dead. It was like a midweek night, 10, 11 o'clock or whatever, bombing back along the bypass in my wee brown Fiesta.
Aye. Minted.
So that was silly, and I've never done it since, so I guess I've learned it.
Well, aye, definitely have learned it. And I take it nothing bad happened.
Nah, the door stayed on, I stayed in.
Good.
I don't know, I was sober, like, obviously I was driving, but can't remember why I done it. I just remember doing it, thinking, the fuck did I do that? Like now, looking back, as a fucking old guy with 3 kids and that.
Aye. You go mental one of the kids if they tell you you'd done it. You're like, fuck, you did that for you, idiot.
I was driving, you know what I mean? It wasn't like I was a passenger even, which was still fucking mad anyway. Driving the car and opened the door. So that's silly.
Aye. I kind of like stuff like taking drugs and that, that's not the brightest, but most folk try stuff like that. It's not the most stupid thing either.
Did anybody reply to that with any of their things they done, no?
No.
So it's just him swimming out and me opening a door on the bypass.
Well, actually, maybe there is a reply. WTC 1981 said they did the same trying to swim onto the beach in Thailand, which can obviously be taken where the beach was filmed. So maybe try to swim out there.
You can't do it. You've done that many daft things. You can't.
Aye, I'm trying to think of something like really dangerous or reckless that I've done, and I'm kind of quite disappointed that nothing springs to mind. I'll need to come back to that question at some point. Right, random dribbles: is the glass half empty or half full?
Mine's is always half full.
Aye, I'm like that as well. Slow drinker. Also from the random dribbles, what haircut does Bojo have?
I don't know if that's classed as I don't know if it's trademarked or anything, but it's definitely a shite one. I think.
I think he asks for it. The hairdresser came when he goes in. Just can you just make a cut at this, please?
You can. I know, but the thing is that he actually does it because it's part of his whole character.
Aye.
He deliberately ruffles his hair up in that to be messy. You know what I mean? To look like whatever the fuck is he's trying to do? Like whoever he's trying to appeal to. It's deliberate.
Aye. They came with the name of the cunt is what I would call it. That's the style. Random dribbles. You can shag any woman on the planet once only, and then that's it forever, or you become gay. Choose. And if you're gay, just reverse the sexes. So if you're already gay, you would become heterosexual.
I get what the fucking reverse is. Did you? I just watched the Celebrity Gogglebox the other day. Right, it came on. I was flicking through the channels, and they showed a clip of that Naked Attraction. You heard of that program? You seen it before?
I've not watched it, but the only times I've seen it is on Gogglebox, and they seem
I'm the same.
on that.
Aye, because you get good reactions off it. I guess, but on the Celebrity one the other night, they had an old boy came out, 75, the oldest one they've ever had on it, and he was married for, I don't know, 30 years, I think he said, can't remember, it doesn't matter. And he says, I was sure I was heterosexual or, straight or whatever. And basically his wife left him or died or whatever. And he thought, and he says, men were more interested in me. So he just thought, fuck it, may as well bend over, innit?
Aye.
So he was heterosexual for all that time and he just went, and lasses aren't interested or women aren't interested in me. Just take the bobby. So that was his thing. I didn't care if I could do that. I just didn't care if I could.
I've got an ex workmate who is adamant that because he's he's not married, but he's got a wee boy with his partner, kind of like long-term partner, and he's adamant that if he had his time again, he probably would have chosen to go gay just because it's less hassle. He's like, Ken, you want to go watch the football? He's like, you want a blowjob? Aye. Right, they bother. You want to go watch the football? Aye. Right, there's no grief for that. We would just get pissed tonight. Aye. And he was
But
like,
one of them,
surely that's a simpler
become the
life.
sort of wife. But one of them becomes a wife, though, surely, and
I think
becomes that fucking pain in the arse.
Aye, so he kind of stuck to that. It's like just that. It seems like idyllic, you know. So obviously you have to make some concessions to what you're into and stuff, but that aside, it seems like a bra life. So, aye.
I think I would take the other option. I do. I'm in my 40s now anyway, so it's less and less frequent.
They should have made that deal already. Right, what's the best cure for a hangover for TG Willis?
Well, mine's is sleep. Sleep and just dark rooms and juice, like anything, Pepsi Max, Iron Brew, something like that. And then probably later in the night, in the afternoon, I would get a pizza or something. Like later on, if it's a really bad hangover, can't eat anything all day. Just starve myself like that all day, because if I've got to eat anything, it's got to come straight back out. So that's my recommendation for anybody that's got a hangover.
Well, we've talked about it before, like that. So I've not had a proper hangover for years now, I reckon, because I spew, but it comes at both ends when I'm kind of the next day, and so you just never off the toilet for one reason or another. It's no nice. So I normally, if I'm expecting it to be a heavy night, we do some prep. I should have things like Iron Brew. Lucas said, sport, the still wind orange. That's good for the dehydration. You can get that in water.
You take the tablets in advance as well.
Oh,
don't you?
aye. Get that all in the night before. Aye, and that's I try to stave off a lot of it while I'm sleeping. That's the kind of logic there. If I have that, I might sleep long enough that I miss the worst part of it. It doesn't always work, or often work, or work at all. That's it. And then if you can eat, that's fine. Or go out for a walk. A walk is good for it. If you can get outside, if you're well enough to get outside. The problem is, because I'm a spewer, is I have to wait till the vomiting's finished before I could go. Otherwise, I would be stopping every few minutes to.
Yeah, I know. I just can't. I've got mates that we've got mates that their options are they'll just give me another pint like the next day. Is that like hair of the dog?
Hair of the dog, aye.
Can't do it. Just can't do it. I just can't face it.
I've done it before. You can talk about doing stupid things. Like I mind I had my flat in Bernard Street. You know, it was like a work night at McDonald's, and everybody had come back down to our flat after it. And when I woke up the next morning, there was folks had like I think if you remember, it was like a massive bedroom, and there was folk crashed out, kind of left, right, and centre. And I woke up, and the first thing that was to hand was a bottle of rum, and I just picked up the bottle and just started drinking it out of the bottle. And I was obviously still pissed. I thought, two options here: I'm either going to be really suffering, or I was going to tan that. And I think had that, and then went up to the wee Scott Mid that was at the bottom of Leith Walk, and just got some Stellas in and that, and then went back into the flat and just got wired in and just pretty much stayed on it for the weekend. When that hangover eventually came, it was horrific.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You're not just delaying it. You're not just kicking it down the line a bit.
It was a horrible couple of days after that. Like, good fun at the time though. To be fair, I remember sitting thinking, "Can I have a bottle of rum for breakfast? This is a a new low or a new high, whatever."
Am I an alcoholic? That's probably what you're thinking.
It wasn't a regular thing, so I thought it was probably safe enough. That's maybe why I didn't drink so much now, but why I can't handle it these days. Right, the words. Do you think Mr. Matty is scouting the Euros? In brackets, in other words, do you think the days of a Ulysses de la Cruz signing are gone forever? So will Hibs be keeping their eye on any players that are at the Euros?
Aye, but De La Cruz never played at the Euros, did he?
I wouldn't have thought so. No, no being for Ecuador.
No appearances, no. But he's bound to be looking at, but probably more at your. Well, we're not going to get into the top end.
North Macedonia.
North Macedonia was the one on the tip of our tongue.
Phil O'Donnell.
Yeah. Well, no Phil O'Donnell, but Stephen O'Donnell.
Stephen O'Donnell. Oh, I thought, fucking hell. Definitely Phil O'Donnell.
But it's got to be that end, isn't it? I mean, but they're bound to be players, as you say, like no Germany and France, but playing for, I don't know, even the Ukraine, maybe that's like playing at a level that it would be a step up for them to come to Scotland. Whether they'd come for the Ukraine, you know what I mean? Like closer by, maybe.
Aye.
Lower league level.
He's more likely to be looking at no there, but the players who next time the tournament come round will be there, like your McGinns or your that's a pet hate. If okay, when you see your McGinns, your McTominays, and that just because there's only one of them. There's more than one McGinn, so it was all right there. But Kevin Nisbet type players. Right, Alistair Taylor, what was better, the young ones, Filthy Rich and Cat Flap, or Bottom? I didn't ken Filthy Rich and Cat Flap.
I've heard it, but I've never watched it. I've never seen it. Not that I know of. I like Rick Mail as well, but and Ed Edmondson. I like the young ones, but I think Bottom I preferred because it was more. Young ones, I was just too young, and I've watched it. Like, sorry, it was a bit dated maybe when I watched it.
Aye.
Whereas the Bottom was like, I was loving it at the time. You know what I mean? It was when it was out. It was new. In my teens and that.
Aye.
So Bottom. I can't remember what Filthy Rich. Is that a film or is that a series? Because he'd done a film as well, Rick Mail. It was.
I can't remember.
It was like
It was Freddie's. Fuck it. Oh.
It was like a secret, not secret, but like
an imaginary friend.
Imaginary friend. That's what I was trying to say.
Hold on. Yeah. Keep padding, and I'll.
All right.
I'll look up. I'm looking up the film.
You looking at Filthy Rich?
No. The name of the film that he was in.
But Bottom was good. But I mean, at the end of the day, it was just them walking about banging each other over the head with big pots and pans, which Vic and Bob then took on to the next level, I guess.
Aye. Bottom. Right, here we go. Rick Mail.
What was the sitcom? Filthy Rich and Cat Flap.
Was it?
Aye.
Drop Dead Fred. That was the film.
Drop Dead Fred. So it was.
That wasn't up to much. I didn't think. Drop Dead Fred. The New Statesman was good. He was good at that.
Like that.
Alan Bastard.
Yeah, it was repeated not long ago. Actually, I saw that one. Maybe when he died. Maybe more recent than that. That was it. Because that's when you watch that now and you think, fuck, he was doing a parody, but it was actually real life.
Aye. It's worse.
Just like that Richard Madeley clip.
Aye.
It's like he's playing Patches better than Patches. Like, who can play a man? It's fucking mental.
Do you think what's going through his head when he's like, it's just we never went after the Hitler Youth. So it just makes you think, doesn't it?
Something to reflect on.
Something to reflect on. It's another presenter, I don't care her name. She's just kind of looking
at she's looking like the lassie does with Partridge, looking at him as if to say, did you just say that?
Just like, oh no. Okay, right. Liam said, if the wind changed, what facial expression would you want to have for the rest of your life?
No, that one.
One of the Greg Wallace, Peter Griffin ones, eh? That's what I'll go for. Just spend an eternity catching flies.
I don't know. Is there a choice?
Well, somebody said the end game, which is, like your cum face, I suppose. I'm not sure you want to go.
Wouldn't be walking a bit like that, though.
That'd be off-putting for everybody.
Imagine when you're though, and your face is just like your like normal face that you've picked.
Aye.
And you're at the end game. Anyway.
Aye. I'll go with the Peter Griffin one. Neil Renton, where were you when you saw someone as out of their box as David Marshall?
Well, you were telling a story the other day, weren't you? But we still kind of picture the time or the place.
I think I think it was a Cafe Royal. Now that we talked about it, because I was trying to think of what pub it would have been at the West End, and I was on Street View and everything on Google. God, where was it? I can't. It was in my memory. It was sort of near McDonald's, that sort of area, and it was music themed pub. So I was thinking something like the Hard Rock Cafe. But again, Hard Rock Cafe's never been on Princess Street. I don't think something along those lines is what I'd thought. But I just think I've misremembered that. But before Oasis, at Ingolston, which you drove to, as we remembered, and I remember that as well. We were in the pub first, and the barman was trying. So he was either learning how to make cocktails, and we were getting them cheap, or Doctor was there, and he was just going, "Let's have fucking cocktails to get us pissed." But there was a wee Chinese woman who was in talking to the pictures on the wall and sort of dancing about. She was on her own and off her tits. So she was probably the most out of it.
But that again is about 95, 96 or 97. Probably 96.
But we'll see, I'm not counting, like, you go to tea and like, how many times you went to tea in the park or that. Especially towards the later years, that folk would be just idiots, kind of couldn't handle whatever it was that they were taking. And so you saw a lot of folk in a state, but I kind of discount them because there's that, they're just fucked. But there's, when you're talking to Woz and dancing about on your own, that's a whole other level. Like, that's like, when there's always somebody who's that weird, like, they look pretty harmless, but you wouldn't trust that they're harmless. But that mental. That was like.
See, what's on the edge of my tongue is this boy that stays, well, I don't know where he stays, but he kicks about the town that I live in. I feel a wee bit sorry for him, that's why they were mentioning it, but he's that pickled all the time that he's huge as well. Like, we're talking like 6'4", 6'5", built like a brick shit house. He'll salute in that and like march about like he's in the army. He sits just up at the bus stops and out the road. He's like that, like you see him 2-3 times a week. You walk past, but he's brand new when you walk past, but you just think, see if you were to say anything, I'll fucking smash. I don't know if he was ex-army or no, but he walks, I don't know if he's got PTSD or anything, that's why they're really way. But he's like that all the time. He's out his box to answer the question.
Aye. And David Marshall was pretty far out, which is the other thing to bear in mind as well. So you're having to go some. All right, guys, I suppose he's done a sort of. This is a picture question. So you can purchase one ticket, and the artists that you can go to see with your one ticket, they're all dead. Bob Marley, Jimi Hendrix, David Bowie, not sure who the other one is, Michael Jackson, who have we got there? Tupac, Queen, or Freddie Mercury, or Whitney Houston randomly in there as well.
Which one? Just so I'm getting a ticket to anything that I want.
One ticket, and you can go and watch them play a gig.
I would probably.
Prince is the one I miss. I got Hendrix. Prince.
Prince then. Aye. Prince comes in as a winner then. Aye. I was leaning towards Bowie there, but Prince jumps the list for me.
I would probably have said Bowie for it. Good question. Right. What about is there any other dead folk you would like to see? Not obviously dead, but if you could go back and see them.
I can't think who's. What about John Lennon?
Aye, Lennon would be a good shout. I think anybody else. Aye, that'll do. Right, Lidge, when's the first Skiffy Invitation Challenge couple pim? So do that in the summer at some point. We just need to find a living room with a low enough roof. Right, Mike, should I keep delivering critical food supplies to the Gloating Englanders if one of those fannies say to me, "Can you still boogie?" I'm going to throat punch them. So he delivers, I think, for Iceland. So should he keep doing it, or out of spite, should he just deprive them of their food supplies?
Just let them be. Leave them be. I'm storing it up. I've got. I work well with folk down south. I've got. I've had messages with Marshall, like just gifts and that already. Not gifts like slagging off the just David Marshall and a gift. And I'm like, fuck, you've gone early here. Like, we've not played yet.
Aye.
So I'm just hoping we can do something and go back to them on Monday. But he's got to deliver his stuff.
It's definitely
If he's selling a job, he's got to look after number one.
Aye. Keep your powder dry with it as well.
Aye. Okay.
Alistair Taylor, have you ever farted, sneezed, and coughed at the same time? And if so, did you accidentally shite yourself doing it?
I've not. I don't know if that's possible to be able to do that.
It is.
It is to do all three.
Aye. So I've definitely. I've done the fart and the sneeze at the same time. I don't think I've done the Holy Trinity, but I have seen somebody do it and they didn't shut themselves at the time.
No.
Nah.
No.
Nah. Well, no,
well,
like, oh, maybe they did. Maybe they did. They just kept it quiet.
Fart, sneeze and cough. How can you sneeze and cough at the same time, though? Like,
because your sneeze is for your nose and the cough is for your throat. So you could do it.
Yeah. You could keep your eyes open at the same time as well.
Oh, no. But if you could capture the exact moment that it happened, your facial expression, that's the one I'm going to land on.
Exactly, that's the last question.
That's it.
And I bet you if you kept your eyes open, you would shit yourself. Because by forcing your eyes open, your sphincters just go, fuck it. Can't you do it?
Is there not like an urban legend that if you keep your eyes open when you sneeze, they pop out?
Aye.
I've never tried that either. Is it? Well, you need to force your eyes open today because they instinctively shut, don't they? Aye. Sneezes are a terrible thing because they're unpredictable as to what volume of stuff is going to come out. Because you get some sneezes that are completely safe, and then occasionally you have a sneeze, you're like, and you're like,
it's covered.
Your hand, and you're like, fuck, you need a hanky or at least a discreet soft surface. That isn't yours. Try to get to the toilet without touching it and like to clean your hands. It's fucking ridiculous. That's the worst thing. Right, Ray said, right, 2 points for a win, 3 points for a win of 2 clear goals, 1 point for a draw, bonus point for a clean sheet unless the game is 0-0, and then fuck them. If that happened, do you think the Old Firm would still win?
They would win by more than they currently do, I think.
Yeah, because
the goals by 2.
Aye.
2 goals now.
Aye. Fewer of the non-Old Firm teams win by 2 goals or more frequently. Yeah. So, I like the principle
behind that one
it, but I rip it up. You'll have, what's his face, Peter Law will already be drafting up why it's a good idea and try to bribe Dundee and that into...
He's too busy putting the insurance claim in after the shoes got burned in it.
Right enough. Neil Whelan said, if you pick anyone to teach you how to play the saxophone, who would it be and would you replicate their mouth action?
If I'm teaching them, would they not be replicating mine?
No, they're teaching you.
Oh, they're teaching me. Well, you would be, wouldn't you? Because teaching you how to do it.
Aye, you'd have to copy. In which case, I'd pick Admiral Akbar out of Star Wars, get the big fish-headed guy, just because I think that would be good banter. it'd make learning it difficult, but it'd be quite fun watching Admiral Akbar try to play the saxophone. Right.
How do these folk come up with these questions?
Alistair Taylor, he asked this question in Strong Opinion Hibs boys as well. Just wondering, we're all one club for the men, reserves, women, kids to the support staff. So therefore, should it be only right that the women play at Easter Road and not Ainsley Park?
Well, why they don't draw a big enough crowd to justify it, do they? The reserves don't play there. They're all one club.
So the same question then, like, but should the reserves play there or not? Or
why do they need a big stadium like that? They could stick a wee temporary stand up or something in the training centre on the pitch there and use that for it. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I've got a daughter that plays football and that, so I'm not against women's football and that. But just think, why would you want a 20,000 stadium for, I don't know, a few 100,000 people? Just seems overly over the top, and that would ruin the pitch. So unless we were on some kind of hybrid or 4G, 5G, 3G, whatever it is, you wouldn't want the pitch getting ruined for the team who are actually the focal point of the whole club, aren't they?
Aye.
When it comes down to it, you've got all these other clubs, but the whole point is that the focal club is the men's first team.
I think if we had a 4G pitch, our phone signals would be better east of the road.
I don't know.
I'd like them to try it. I get shite.
But you were getting. I was going to say you'll get Wi-Fi for your press pass, though, you know.
Oh, we get that sorted. Ricky said, "Do you boo, mute the telly, or turn it over when the English national anthem comes on?"
No, none of them. No.
See, this is I was having this conversation the other day. My mum and my big sister are both English, so I'm half English myself. So I've never been brought up that way. I'm very pro Scotland, so I consider myself more Scottish than English. But that's my background. Like I'm half and half. Technically, I've lived in Scotland all my life, but I've always been pro Scotland and never anti English. Yeah. This is the way that I've been brought up. So the thing that bugs me is England play "God Save the Queen" as their national anthem, but that's meant to be kind of if you're unionist and everything, it's for Britain. Aye. No, the English one, but I think I know what the English one would be. The rugby team do
Land of Hope and Glory, or they sing Swing Low, don't they? But Swing Low, Sweet Charity. That's just like a rugby song, is it? It'd be like Land of Hope and Glory, they would do, which is effectively the tune of Hibs song as well, isn't it? We hate Glasgow Rangers. We hate Celtic too.
Look at that one.
But no, I don't know. Why would you do your telly? Because there's a song on. It's on top of the pops.
There was you'll know section on Twitter now. There was a boy who'd filmed himself booing the players taking the knee, England players taking the knee, and he's standing in it, and he's posted it on Twitter, and then everybody's rinsing him for the quality of his wallpaper, but he's also got his TV stand back to front as well. It shows you how much an idiot the boy was.
I'm not going to criticise him for that, because I've done that once.
Did you?
And my mate Ross walked in and went, "You've got that the wrong way around." I went, "Oh, fuck's sake, he's hand." So I just built it up, I think, and I just put it in, and he's like, "That's the wrong way."
Well, I mind building a wardrobe unit from IKEA, and when you finish building it, and you notice one of the panels on it is back to front because it's got the rough edge and the smooth edges, but the way that panel was locked in, to turn it around, you'd have to pretty much dismantle the whole fucking thing to fix it. So that stayed like that. And every time I looked at it, I was like, "Fuck you! Why would you just put a finish on both ends and then not have to worry about it?" Fucking hell!
I hate building things up. I can hate it.
So you learn like a whole new vocabulary, swear words when you're doing it. Like you string swear words together that you've never strung together before in all your days.
I lose it actually. You open it up and you get it's just all pictures. Well, it's just all fucking pictures. That's my first reaction. No words. Like, who am I to fucking understand that? So
the worst thing about them is they're always slightly out. Where like this screw needs to go into that hole. Right, not the bum.
Listen to this, they're not going to see that.
No, I can't. So
missing out. They're going to have to go and recast.
Do the gesture for a finger going in a wee hole, which in this case isn't the.
What did he tell them? They're going to recast.
Yeah, well, that's true. It's no representing genitals, but the hole will be 0.5 millimetre out, so the screw doesn't go in. Do you know, like it kind of covers the whole wee bit, but the rest of it's trying to get through a solid bit. Fucking hell. See when that happens, that's when I feel like just smashing the whole fucking thing up. You're like, fucking how everything else is lined up, and you get to this one wee bit, and it doesn't fit. And so you have to force it. There's no other way than to force it, but then it's broken. Fuck, they do my head in. And it's one of these things, like a few years back, we sort of vowed not to buy IKEA furniture and that again. I'm just like, I'm no fucking doing it. I'd rather pay more and get like one of these World of Oak or whatever the fuck it's called.
Aye.
Go there and say, because the most solid fucking pre-made thing that you've got that somebody kens what they're doing is built. I'll have that. And just
That is good. I've done that a couple of times. Like I have this table I'm sitting at right now. There's one of them comes in, boom, just deliver it. No, nothing today.
That's infinitely better than when you get something.
When I got my bed, 2 years ago, I paid the boys to build it. Like you could, when you bought it, it was like, do you want us to build it as well? Much as that, like 50 quid. Fucking right.
Aye.
Probably
did in about 10 minutes as well, because they'll come on the doing with it.
Yeah.
They'll have the secret manual that it's open up. It says, very day what the picture says, here's the right bit.
You wonder how many they fucked up though before they've done yours. Right? They've got all these ones that are fucked loads of times.
Pan all the wrong way around in that.
Came what I done wrong with things.
Right, the Cal Chalmers said, I just accidentally dropped my phone down the toilet mid-flush and it's still working. How's it not fucked?
Right. So phones are waterproof now, they're not.
Most of them are. The new ones are water resistant. Like I think they'll survive a flushing anyway.
Yeah.
So it's
fine.
So if you drop your phone in the toilet, right, go for a pee, drop your phone, are you risking flushing it and having the phone go away, or are you reaching in pre-flush to dig it out?
I would go in. I'd go in. Yeah.
Aye.
Jane Bish.
What if it's what if you dropped it while you've been sitting down? What if it's a train spotting scenario?
Yeah. Again, I'd probably go. I'd go for it.
If you'd have to,
I wouldn't be eating the rice. I wouldn't be eating the rice after I put in the rice. Like.
You wouldn't need to do that with the waterproof ones, so would you? You just.
I don't think so. I've never actually had.
Wipe it down.
I don't know how new they are either. Like, but I'm sure waterproof phones have been out, or water resistant or whatever, have been out for a couple of years now. Like, it's not just recently that they've came out. So I'm sure the boy's phone, he's maybe just not realised it's water resistant or waterproof.
Aye. Flushing it can't be good for it away.
Nah,
how good would you be if you like fucking flushed it and you just sort of disappearing?
I know. No, that could happen. That's why I wouldn't risk flushing it. No. And then when they say water resistant, it's always to a certain
depth.
Certain depth. Now, by flushing it, I guess that would maybe give it the feeling that it's deeper than it is.
Liam again said, how big does a pebble have to be before it becomes a stone? And then how big does a stone need to be before it becomes a rock?
Nah, I don't know. I don't know.
15.
Aye.
So, I think somebody replied to say there is an actual answer for it. You can look it up, and it's no when they grow up is what they said. It's not like a pebble doesn't mature into a stone. But I think no idea.
Why does it matter? That's the question that's on the. Why does he need to know? For what reason is he asking that question?
I'm glad he did though. Wilson said, if Wallace Mercer's plan had succeeded, but instead of us going out the game, it would have been Hearts, would you have backed it?
Yes.
Probably would have.
Criticise them on the wall for not joining in to help save Hibs, but fucking right, would have been in this.
I wonder if your attitude would have been different at the time, though, because there wasn't. Obviously, there was always some.
There wasn't as bad.
But that was like a big tipping point.
Romanov changed a lot, I think. I think Romanov, that changed a lot, but then Romanov obviously changed a lot as well with and then the 100-year stuff started ramping up and all that as well. Didn't it? And that was it. Kind of got a bit worse.
Because the first derby after it at Easter Road, the whole Mercer thing, that was fucking toxic, that game. I mean, it was good atmosphere. Joe, in terms of like, you'd remember it if you were there. But it was not like a nasty atmosphere. It wasn't like a good-natured banter when it was hostile as fuck. And it stayed hostile as fuck for a good bit while after it. So I reckon if you'd asked me at the time, I probably would have said, no, I didn't back it. But now, if it happened, I'd be pissing myself. Like, I've got to be honest with you, it would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Although, the flip side is, what if they start coming to the Easter Road and you can mind the boys that sat behind us? Imagine that was permanent and it was fucking cardigan wearers and
Yeah. That wouldn't happen, would they? They wouldn't.
nah,
You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't switch for Hearts to Hibs or Hibs to Hearts.
nah.
I mean, if you were going to sport football, you would go in, I don't know, Edinburgh City or what was close to you, Bonner Groves or Musselburgh Athletic, or you know what I mean. You wouldn't
Do you ken anybody that switched?
From Hibs to Hearts.
Aye, or vice versa.
Well, we were at school with well, name names. No name names in that. I think his uncle played for Hearts.
Aye. Right, so didn't
And
name names, I care who you mean, aye.
He was a Hearts fan at school and at primary school, and then he's Hibs fan. I've seen him at Easter Road and that.
I bumped into a boy who used to work beside the Sky who was a St Mirren fan. Right. And big St Mirren fan, Ken, right into him. And I bumped into him outside Easter Road. I was like, fuck you doing here, Joe?
Yeah.
And he's moved in with his girlfriend and she was a Hibs fan and they stayed just off Easter Road. So he's like, I'm a Hibs fan now. I was like, what? How does that happen? Like, I can't comprehend it. Why would you just change? What would have been good is if you knew somebody for school who was a staunch Jambo and we pretended at this point. Kind of, if we thought about it, if we pre-planned this question, you could have said, there was a boy that stayed in my street that did the Hearts fanzine and that. What was the fanzine called? Always a Bridesmaid or something. He was a big guy and he lost loads of weight.
They stayed in your street?
When my mum and dad are there now. He stayed in that one when we moved up.
Oh, is it his first name?
Aye.
Will that remind you? Craig?
Aye, that was him.
Aye.
If we thought about it, we could have said him and said, aye, he was done the fancy in that, but now he's like...
Maybe would believe that.
He's right in, Ken, in with his stand and that. Right, last question of the night. Alex, is couscous a rip-off when it's basically just diced spaghetti?
Is that what it is? I didn't know that.
It's semolina wheat or something, grain, something. Aye, I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
or Durham wheat. One of the two.
So spaghetti that's made to look like rice, effectively.
Aye, just diced really, really small. But I can't eat spaghetti. So, I can eat it. I always choke on it. Always. It gets kind of stuck in my throat, and then I have to do that.
Do you chew it like?
Aye, I chew it, but it's like, regardless of how much I chew it, there'll be a small bit, and it kind of stick. And do you know how cats do when they cough up like a fur ball? I end up doing that, and then again, depending on how forceful the cough is, you either catch it in your mouth or you end up with a bit of, there's a bit of spaghetti in the hand. That's nice. Just have it back again. A bit more this time. So we had well, I was going to say spaghetti bolognese tonight, but just made it with normal pasta because I can go for that without choking.
I didn't know that, and I didn't know that couscous was.
Aye. So I'd rather have the couscous than spaghetti, but a couscous carbonara wouldn't be nice.
No, because it's made like rice, isn't it? So it's like it's got not the texture maybe, but the sort of look in that of rice.
Aye,
so
it's more like that.
Aye, let's have couscous and spaghetti.
Why is it just called couscous? That's the other thing that bugs me about couscous is what the fuck's the point in the extra couscous in it?
Don't know. Got to Google it. Is it
what
foreign?
What does it translate? Or is it just the name? But I didn't get why you would do that.
No idea. Maybe something else was already called couscous. So
maybe just pick something altogether different. If anybody kens the answer, you can tweet us. Right, I think that's about enough for the evening then, Colin. I think that's all the questions run out.
Well, thank fuck for that. That was a hard one this week.
Fuck, it was. Made us think. I'm going to think of something stupid that I've done, and I'll share it next time. It's done. Out of all the stories that I had, there must be fucking loads of them.
Well, I've got a couple of mates coming over tomorrow. Obviously, you can't make it, so I'll ask if they can cast their mind back.
If they can
to the good old
remember it.
days and see if they can.
On the nickname ones, we were asked about this. Somebody, right. There was a follow-up question. I remember I've bookmarked. I think it was Neil Renton had asked, what was the worst punishment exercise anybody got? Or what was the daftest thing they'd done to get a punishment exercise, right? Or the equivalent. So there's two times really that stick in my mind when I got into trouble at school, right? One was in primary school when I was in Whitburn. Primary 3 or 4 would have been in. Maybe primary 5 at a stretch, right? We read a book called Franco the Cat, right? And there was a line in this, right? Bear in mind we're just kids. Franco is a gay cat, right? Obviously that was the meaning what it was meaning, if you read that now.
No bad maybe.
Me and my pal Darren were like, that's fucking hilarious. So we're pissing ourselves laughing. And the teacher told us off for it and said, I can either write to your mum and dad and tell you, or you do 60 lines. And the lines were, I must not find hidden meaning in books. Right, which when you think about it, see when you do fucking higher English and that's shite advice. That's exactly what you're meant to do. So I was like, well, I know what my mum and dad to find out, so I'll do the lines. So I did the lines, handed them in. My mate Darren also did the lines and got his mum and dad to sign them. I was like, what the fuck did you do that for? Well, I wouldn't have said what the fuck for, but at that age, why were you doing that? The other time was at Porty, and it wasn't even in school. We were helping out with parents' night, and mine, Mr. Aiken, the science teacher, he came through one of the double doors.
Are we still on the nickname one here?
The nickname ones, right? So, surname Aitken, what would you have called him?
Mabosa.
Oh, hi, Mabosa. Fucking detention for lack of respect. So I got a detention on a night.
He was a rugby coach.
Was he?
He was a rugby coach, and he stopped the minibus on the way back to a game once because I called him Mabosa on the bus. They threatened to let me out on like the fucking M9 or something.
Aye.
And I was like,
fuck's
sake.
Was it him that used to do the tap dancing? Like, can you tap dance, Mr. Aiken? And he said, no, I'd always fall in the sink. You'd have bad chat like that. I mean, if that was him. Because it was Robocop was the physics teacher, mind. What was his name? Mr.
McDonald.
Aye.
McDonald.
See, you look like the actor that played Robocop. No, well, the metal shite on him and that, Ken, but just...
No.
Aye. Anyway, right, that's the end of the podcast.
I thought you were talking about punishment exercises. That's what you were talking about.
Aye, but because I got detention for calling him the nickname. But Mark Cochran, who was also at our school, had tweeted to say he had a pal whose surname was Aitken, or Richie, because it works for both.
Richie. We had a Richie in here.
Aye, Mabosa Richie, or Mabosa Aitken. Either works. So that triggered it. I remember the nickname and the punishment exercise, but it was a detention. I can't remember if I actually did the detention either. If I just never fucking turned up for it. A nonsense. Imagine, like, you're doing for helping out. Normal rules didn't apply at that time.
You're not school then.
No. Anyway, right. I'll think of something stupid that I did for next time if I can remember. I've obviously blocked it from my memory. Right. That's us. Thanks for listening. We'll be back on Monday with Barry Wilkins from off Hibs Stadium announcer to do his top 5. So look forward to that. If you've not heard Dave Armstrong's from Monday, I'd recommend going back. That was a good episode as well. In the meantime, thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Dry County line, I pledged upon. Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't